Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you're new. I am the stepson of Krypton,
And I am Mantis.
and today we are breaking into DC Next Level. It finally kicks off. I know they had released something a couple weeks ago saying that it was going to be kicking off, but we finally got the first couple of issues. Mantis, are you ready to discuss kind of what the kickoff of Next Level is and what we can expect, at least for the first
I
run?
I'm ready. I'm about to have a little Deathstroke.
And I'm going to talk about the main man. All right. So let's just not waste any more time. Let's get on into it. All right, guys. So if you have been following along with the channel, and we appreciate it, you know that we have been doing a covering the DCU as well as everything going on in the comic book world right now. We cover all of the all six in the absolute universe, as well as Justice League Unlimited. And thanks to Mantis, we just had to do a 42 event crossover with the DCKO. Yeah. Go check that out. He at least put them on a playlist for us so you can watch them all. It was really good because there was I think there was a little bit of a blending of to the absolute, but not a full crossover, and I'm good with that, right? Because I think we're all getting a little burnt out on crossovers. So DC's next step is this DC, well, all in DC comics. His next step is this DC Next Level. Mantis, do you kind of want to go over a little bit on what that is and what that means for us?
Yeah. Like you said, it's pretty much an offshoot, the next phase of the DC All In, and as the first phase kind of ended with the DCKO event, as the culmination there, a lot of these minor,
Culmination.
This marks the culmination of the past 4 years. Culmination.
yeah,
Sorry.
intertwining stories, and but as we know from that, there was a thing that happened. I don't want to ruin it, but I guess screw you guys if you haven't watched our video. Tough shit.
I'm all heart, motherfucker!
In DCKO 5, we find out that when Doomsday Time Trapper gave his alpha energy to Superman, and he literally became a god, if there ever is a uh, definition of it in comic books, other than the one above all, he became that. And when they fought, him and Darkseid kind of released these little sparks, these things into the normal universe. And as we know, some of that stuff could be seeping into new comic books. So the three new comic books that they're coming out with at this point in DC Next Level, one is Lobo, one is Batwoman, and the other is Deathstroke.
I wasn't able to get Deathstroke.
Yeah. Funny thing, we both got Lobo. I was able to get Deathstroke, but not Batwoman. But Cal was able to get Lobo, but Batwoman. So, yeah, weird fluctuation there. But either way, we both have read Lobo, and I think you're going to do a video on Lobo. I enjoyed it. One of the things that I commented before we kind of did this, and I'll let you guys in on it because I don't know why we talk when we should just literally be recording. But I mentioned, hey, I had an easier time reading this Lobo to me, and I don't know if it's because I'm not a deep comic book reader, but one of the quotes from, I don't know if it was from Williamson or Snyder, because they're kind of both doing some of the new stuff in DC Next Level, but had mentioned that the books are easier to read. They're less, I guess, a barrier to entry than most are, because all these three are, they're starting off kind of brand new, especially as we saw in Lobo. Because I mentioned to you I hadn't read Deathstroke yet. Well, say I haven't read Batwoman because I don't have it, but we both had read Lobo, and they do and as much as I hate to say this, because you guys are, as much as I hate to say this, you guys know how I feel about origin stories. However, they do a pretty decent job of explaining Lobo's origin story in this book. It's easy to follow. I don't know about you, Cal, but when I was reading the comic, and I did this when he was in the DCKO of it too, but anytime he talks, he has an Australian accent for me. he's speaking like he does from the animated series. That's how I
So the animated
in
series
my monologue.
is
You know,
how I hear him. So when I read
yeah,
it, everything was coming out in the
and it
animated
fit.
series voice.
Well, if it ain't Nah Vermin and his Roach Motel rejects.
It fit right. Like so, I enjoyed Lobo. I'm sure you can talk about it in just a second once I get prattling here. Um, you know, Deathstroke. I'm assuming all these three books are going to be like that, to where it's going to be an easy jump in point for fans that maybe don't know these characters, or hey, it's like, you know what, I want to get into something new. This is a good spot because these books are easy to read. Or I say these books. The one that I read was easier to read, just like they had commented in the article and the interview they did. So
Well, and what I like is, yes, it is a bit of an origin story, but because it is the main man, he explains it in a way that's funny. Like he kind of gives you get one real big page of kind of him going over his backstory, and then they call him out for it. And now when I'm doing the Lobo video that will kind of go over this. We will, and I've done another video where I've explained Lobo's origins of from being a Valorpian to a Zarnian and kind of all that, because obviously the character has been retconned a couple of times,
Mhm.
and they even
Mhm.
referenced that in the comic book with his new 52 version, which was god awful. And they did the same thing in the DC KO event when he fights Wonder Woman. They get to choose their form. Well, one of the forms he chooses is New 52 Lobo, which a lot of people didn't like, because every time they try to retcon him, they try to make him something different than what he is, and fans don't like it. We like our good foul mouth, big, monstrous looking hulking Lobo, and it works. And every time they change it, it doesn't. So this one, we see that we get that kind of origin story. They follow kind of the most popular, I think, in comics line of what happened. Now they take a little bit of a twist with it. We're not going to go over it in this one, but yeah, when you read it, plus I took it also as Lobo isn't the smartest of the anti-heroes, or even if you want to call him a villain. So like the words were very simple, right? When you're reading it, the panels
Mhm.
were very direct, and it
The
worked.
art was good.
The art was
I love.
good. I,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely loved it. So I'm hoping, I haven't read Batwoman yet. I'm going to read that later on this evening. I'm hoping Batwoman kind of follows the same, and then I'll have to try to track down Deathstroke here, because yeah, bad timing on that with
yeah.
that. So we'll track that one down. But I love what they're doing. Now, I know we're going to see him come in with Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow coming up here in June. I'm wondering if then does that mean we're gonna, and just me speculating, guys, don't all hear fucking wrong. Like I'm just saying, like though it'd be interesting. Are we gonna get a Deathstroke or maybe a Batwoman as well? Because we know it's gonna
Mm.
be a little while before we're gonna get a Batman movie because everything going on in the Elseworlds timeline. And we all got teased the Deathstroke in the DCEU, and we never got it, but we got teased. So I'm wondering if they're trying to introduce us to these characters, and this is how, because we do know, as we've said many times during our DCU coverage, that Gunn wants everything tied together. And I do think, real quick on that, because this isn't a direct comic issue, like particular issue on that, is if you have watched it, just released the latest Absolute Green Lantern video. Tomar Ray, he says to them in the end when she's talking about uh, the Green Lantern, she's like, "Lantern isn't a exact translation in your language. The exact translation would be gun." And I think that's a little
Mm.
funny that they threw that in
It
there,
is.
with James Gunn. So,
Mhm.
like, we know he wanted everything kind of tied together, even though loosely in the comics, we know with animated's definitely being tied in, and then the TV shows, and then into movies, right? We see the bleed over from Peacemaker and things like that. So it makes me wonder: are we going to get a Batwoman? Is Batwoman going to fight Deathstroke, or could it be, right? I don't know. I'm just I'm spitballing here. I'm trying to make connections
Well,
probably where there shouldn't be.
we've seen crossovers between comics. We've recently seen that with the Absolute series. And you can kind of look at this next level as an Absolute type thing. They're going to roll it out like they did Absolute. They're going to have three at the first, remember, like they did Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, right? and then there's going to be like a couple months later, and then they're going to release more. That's what they're going to do. The exact same thing with this. I don't know. I really hope, and this is not a good bet because again, as big a comic book people are out there, as many as there are, there's way more movie watchers. So him to kind of tie in things into the comics would be satisfying a very small part of his audience, I think. In my heart, I want him to do that because I think it'd be fucking cool. As we see, he has no problem going between TV shows and movies at all. That he's done that from the beginning with Rick Flag, like you said. I mean, that's baked into the cake on that side. But I wish, I've said this before because we are talking about the absolute storylines would be great in a movie. The KO event was pretty cool. I think you could adapt that to a movie like series or a bunch of like a trilogy or something would be pretty cool. Um, some of the stuff that we're seeing now, like if this Lobo movie was the movie, this first book was like the opening like act or two, like half act or whatever, I'd be fine with that. It'd be funny. I'd be fine with it.
Well, and I think it's interesting because in Lobo here, he even mentions and he's like about the alpha and the omega, right? Tying
Yeah,
into the
he does.
KO event. So
Mhm.
it would be a cool, hey, everything just kind of got reset like we are doing with the DCU. So
Mhm.
yeah, he's gonna be your first anti-hero. And of course I mean, blatantly spell it out for you. Yes, they throw in the anti-hero trope
He
a
talks
lot.
about that.
A
He does.
lot.
There's like a whole like 3 or 4 pages on hating it and where it comes from, and it's good. I don't want to ruin it because you're gonna go over it in your video, which it's pretty good. That whole
It's
that whole
good,
thing.
but what I like is, yeah, like you think it's going to be for the small subset, but I think like with the goal is that, hey, Lobo's going to be in this movie. Here's this comic. Maybe I should read up on him. And the problem is, I just don't feel like that's a lot of people nowadays, right? Is to
Probably
say,
not.
hey, already the diehard fans are going to love it, right? But most people aren't going to say, hey, I want to go read this comic to maybe learn a little bit more about Lobo before the movie comes out. Now, the difference is you have a couple of friends at you, me, and DC that will break it down for you so you don't even have to read them if you don't want to. We will give you all the information as well as some of the backstory that's not included in the comic on Lobo if you want. We're
That
here.
reminds me, because we're the type that do read up on these characters before they come out. We've already read the Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow comic, like the book. I you know I because you reminded me of doing a video on it because we said we were going to do that. We never actually did yet, so we definitely need to do that before. Was it July?
June.
For July. Is it June? Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a couple months. Well, maybe I'll do like a couple of videos on it because it's pretty long. I'll do like a couple chapters per video. Maybe that'll make it easier. I don't know, or just one video talking about it. I don't know. What do you guys? Let us know in the comments if you think we should do a whole series on that, or if it should be like one video just discussing the whole book and what it means for the movie. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, because there's a lot to cover. Plus, we also do know that they've come out and said obviously the movie is not going to follow, hence having Lobo in there. The movie's not going to follow the
Mm.
book. It's going to loosely be tied to it now. Now they're going to kind of expand it to adapt it to more of what James Gunn's overall like picture for the DCU is going to be. But
Yeah.
we can do that for you because that is what we are here for. Is we are here to help bridge the gap between people who absolutely love the comics and love superheroes and the people that just need more information, but they are kind of casual watchers. They probably got drugged to it by a significant other. We are here so you don't have to do all that reading because we do it for you. We buy them for you. I am going broke on how many comics I am buying and paying for this channel because we don't make any money off of this
Which
channel.
I got to talk to you about an app after this video. Not
Yep.
nothing to do with the video.
We'll
but
discuss
anyway.
that because we're not sponsored. So there's no,
Yeah.
he's not pulling
But
one of those tricks of saying, we got to talk to you about this app and we launch into a commercial. No,
hey, if things go well, we may be sponsored by the app. You never know. So
that'd be
we'll see.
nice, right? Cut out the old 9 to 5.
Well,
And then we could just sit here. I will read comics to you all fucking day. Right? Would love that. But that is not the case. However, we are covering what's going on now. We are going to initially start with the next level with Lobo. Let us know down in the comments. Would you like to see either Batwoman or Deathstroke? right? I know there's probably as big of a following for Deathstroke as there is Lobo. Batwoman, probably not so much for the
Never
viewers of the
know.
channel, but not no judgment, right? If you want us to, we can do that, right? I might have to do that because he wasn't able to get the comic, and he may have to take care of Deathstroke because I just
I'll order
how
I'll order Deathstroke and Batman from eBay is what I'll do because we both
yeah.
need one.
So that's just how that shit worked out with our local comic book store. However, as we have said many, many times, it is still the preferred method. Go support your local comic book store if you can. And while you're doing that, and before you do that, you might as well go ahead and give this video a like. Subscribe to the channel so as we release everything going on in the Absolute universe, we are still covering Justice League Unlimited, and now we are going to potentially break into the next level with at least starting with Lobo. You will get alerted when we release those videos, as well as everything else going on in the DCU. We're in that little slowdown period right before I know they had said, like we had with Superman, they had the summer of Superman. They're going to do summer of Supergirl. So we'll see things kind of ramp up a little bit. Maybe we'll actually get a full trailer. So expect that coming, but we will cover that as well. And when you have the bell notifications clicked, you'll get alerted when those videos come out. Mantis, do you have anything else?
You guys better fragging like the video. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Thank you, the main man. Little Lobo inside joke there. You'll get it if you watch the next video coming out here. All right, guys, that is going to do it for us on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.
Oh, man.